friends. Hey, it's that time again. Time for your daily Facebook Live coming to you direct from Utah's Hogle Zoo. I'm Brad in the marketing department. Got the usual cast of characters here with me as well. Also some very special guests, including some four-legged kind. More about that in just a minute. As always, we appreciate your kind support. We have a donation button here somewhere on the site. Anything you can donate in any amount, folks, would be so appreciated and help us during this time when the zoo is closed. There's also other ways to support your zoo at hoglezoo.org. So check that out on the online store section. And also, hey, we have a really fun thing I haven't mentioned in a couple of days, and that is that on our education site on our website, we have a Facebook field trip activity sheet. Might be fun to take a look at that as we go through these Facebook Lives every day at 11:30, by the way, as a little reminder. So today we're going to have a lot of fun. Oh, I see some comments coming in. Thank you, Tabitha. Yeah, welcome. We love your questions. Hey, if you're having a birthday, I'd love to give you a shout out. I'm here outside the small animal building, right here at the Red Fox exhibit. I'm going to turn the camera around and introduce our special guest, and that's the lovely Stephanie from our animal care team. I've known Stephanie for many years. She's wonderful. Today we're going to talk about a very important program that the zoo's been involved in for a number of years, right, Steph? Called Wild Aware Utah. What is Wild Aware?
Well, Wild Aware Utah is a wildlife education and awareness program, and it's through the Utah's Hogle Zoo and our Wildlife Service, Division of Wildlife Services, who takes care of, they oversee all the animals and all the laws about the animals here in the state. And then also with the University of Utah up in Logan. And so they do a lot of work with us to get information on how to keep everyone safe, to be able to enjoy wild Utah without running into problems with some of our wild neighbors.
Yes. So, and who are some of our partners that we work with Wild Aware?
Utah State University and the Berryman Institute.
Oh.
And the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources, who are the wildlife managers.
Wonderful partners and have been for many years.
Absolutely.
All right, so before we introduce you to our furry friends, let's take a look what we got here. You guys set up a table?
Yeah.
A lot of good things. I love this right here, how to observe wildlife from a safe distance. Those of us who live in northern Utah and really throughout the state often encounter wildlife on our hikes and on our drives, even literally in our own backyard.
Absolutely.
So what are some things people can do to stay safe?
Well, one of the things, like you pointed out there, is always observe from a safe distance. People might see a really cool red fox and want to run up and get a nice picture, see how many likes they can get on their Instagram and Facebook. But really you want to keep a really good distance so that animal feels safe and doesn't do something unpredictable. And they are big animals, like the deer and the moose and that sort of thing, and they can easily knock one of us over. So you want to keep a distance of about 3 car lengths. So if you can imagine your family's car and park 3 of them in a line, that's how far away you want to be from a deer or a moose, and even further than that from a bear or a cougar or anything like that.
Oh, that's a great tip. Easy to remember, 3 car lengths
imagine
away.
3 cars in between you and the animal, and if that's what you can imagine, then, and not a smart car, not one of those, more like a regular
Which you know something
car.
about, Steph.
Yes, yeah, not one of those baby cars. Yeah, no, a regular sized car you want to keep, that's about 50 to 75 feet away.
Wonderful. Well, we're getting some questions as to what animals we're going to see. So Gwen, I'm going to turn it over to you. And speaking of animals that we see, I see red foxes on the golf courses here in northern Utah. I see them up at Mountain Dell all the time. I've even seen one cross Wasatch here at Bonneville.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you guys have seen that guy.
Quite often on the one on Foothill right here. I've seen one hunting voles very often. Yeah.
Absolutely. So red foxes are a species that you very well could encounter here in northern Utah. And we've had red foxes in our collection. How long now has it been?
Hold on. Sorry, hold on one second. Let me switch my mask up here.
Just to keep safe.
We've had red foxes since last summer. So we have 4 red foxes, 2 males,
two females. The males' name are Rusty and Shadow, so that's a female and a male right there. And then the girls' names are Autumn and Maple. The females are sisters. The males are brothers, but they are not brother and sister.
Ah,
So I gave them some conchs today and stuffed it with some moss that we have. So he's just running around playing with it. He'll probably bury it. That's Shadow up there.
that's Shadow. Okay, up
Yeah.
high there, folks.
The Shadow and Rusty just turned 2 years old in March, and the girls, Maple and Autumn, just turned 3 at the beginning of this month.
Hey, a shout out to Alpine Elementary. They had a field trip scheduled for today,
Oh,
and
no.
of course we're close, so they're all tuning in.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody from Alpine Elementary. And Heather, that's a good question. How old can foxes get?
Under human care, it's about 12 years, but in the wild, it's actually really short for usually a little over 2 years old.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's all.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, you can see they have dug. Oh, look at he's playing with the conch.
Oh, that's so great.
They're so smart. Foxes are definitely known for their intelligence, and what they do sometimes is they'll take their toys up that hill, drop them, let them roll down, and they'll chase it. Then they'll grab it and run it back up the hill.
Oh, they are so much fun.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
And are they full grown? How big can they get?
They are full grown.
That's what I-
Yeah,
that's what
they
I
are
thought.
full grown.
They are
They're
full grown.
about maybe 15 pounds.
And what is it that they eat? Carrie had a question.
Oh, sure. So foxes are actually opportunistic feeders.
Oh,
But here at the zoo, and I'll get more to that on how they feed in the wild, but here at the zoo, they do get a very well-balanced diet of some ground meat, some fruits and veggies, and we also give them, some people might know of this, it's called TD. It's a larger kibble, and it's just to keep their teeth healthy. And we also give them some bones and stuff to gnaw on to help keep their teeth in tip-top shape as well. In the wild, though, they are quite opportunistic. So foxes are found on many different continents, in many different areas, from the desert to forest to farmlands, now suburban areas. So they take advantage of whatever they can find. They will catch things like birds and rodents and rabbits, so they are really helpful in the wild at keeping those populations under control. But since they also eat fruits and vegetables, they also help with the regrowth of the forests, because what they do is when they eat those fruits and vegetables, they're also eating those seeds. So as those seeds pass through to their digestive tract, they leave nice little presents for the forest. So they're already in fertilizer, and it helps with the regrowth of those forests. Here in the suburban areas, they will take advantage of any garbage that is left out. And yeah, just any pet food that may be left out for, like, if people have animals outside. So that's something to be aware of as well, is when you leave, things outside, you might be attracting these animals too.
now is it just the males that get the big fluffy tails, or is it all
No,
both?
it is all of them.
It is all
but
of them.
They are shedding now.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's why they kind of look like a hot mess right now.
Oh, a little bit like a hot mess.
Because they shed in patches. It's not a nice shed, so they lose
Yes.
their fur for the hot summer coming up.
That
as
was a
well,
very
yeah.
observant question.
Yeah.
I thought, yeah.
Yeah, so the males they started their shed a little bit earlier than the girls. So that is, I think that's Autumn right in front of us. She's digging away there. She's hiding a toy so nobody else can have it.
So selfish.
Yeah. So yeah, the boys lost shed their coat quite a little bit sooner than the girls did. Autumn here, she's still quite fluffy, but Maple, she's definitely quite patchy if she were to come over.
Hey, for all of you that love red foxes, and who doesn't love red foxes, how about a donation for their care? We would sure appreciate
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Thank you for those that have donated.
Yeah.
It goes a long ways with us these days. Now, just as a reminder, we're talking Wild Aware Utah. I want to mention, because I don't think I have yet, to visit wildawareutah.org for more information about this incredible organization. It fills such a vital need in this community because we are surrounded by wildlife almost statewide. I know when I was a boy and I spent a lot of time across the street from the zoo, I can't tell you how many rattlesnakes I saw back in the day. And even in places now, when I was younger, where there were large fields that are now residential, You know, the encroachment of wildlife, and you hear it every year, folks, right, on the news. Black bears in campgrounds and cougar encounters. In fact, we have a wonderful little cougar exhibit here. Tell us a little bit about that, Steph, and what people can find at the website.
Well, on the website, we have lots of information about the different animals you can find here in the state. And one of them is people are sometimes afraid of is the cougar. They're also called a mountain lion, a puma, catamount, screamer. There's a lot of different names for that. And we have this cut out here just to kind of talk about how big they are. And they're quite large compared to these foxes, that's for sure. Oh,
It seems to me I've heard more about, and not just in this state, but
Right.
really around the country, more cougar
again, it's
encounters.
It's mostly because of the human encroachment. We've, like you just said, we have built more neighborhoods and cities and areas that used to be wild places. And when the deer and the elk move down from the mountains in the wintertime, they need to come down into the flat areas to find food. And the flat areas are now where our schools and our homes and the businesses are. So who eats the deer? The cougar does. So the cougar comes down when his food comes down into the neighborhoods. So that's why we're kind of hearing a little bit more about some of these cougars, is that there just aren't enough wild areas left for them, and they have to go where their prey animals go. And since the deer go in the neighborhoods, the cougars might as well. This time of year, the deer are starting to move back into the mountains now that the snow is starting to diminish in the mountain areas. So the cougars will also be moving up more north into the mountains as the deer leave the neighborhood. But it's something to be aware of, that the cougars can be found in any part of the state. And we've had them as close right up here near the zoo. We've had them
Yes.
across the street. So it is something to be aware of. They do really like to stay away from people. They don't like to be around people. And they still will normally hunt their regular prey of the deer, even if they are in the neighborhoods. But it's a good idea to always be very aware of what's going on in your backyard and your front yard. So when you come home from work and it's dark, or you come home from somewhere, you want to make sure you look around before you get up to your front stoop. Or if you're letting your animals out to go to the bathroom at night, you want to also maybe get some lights out there so you can see before you let your dog out. Because you might have one of these guys sitting in the backyard catching rodents in your grass, or eating some leftover fruit in your garden or something. So it's always important to realize that even though it's your backyard, to these guys, they don't know that.
They don't know.
They just know that it's a place to go to find some food. So like Gwen was talking about, foxes will be attracted to your yard if you leave out dog or cat food for your pets. They also, unfortunately, can mistake your cat or small dog for something to eat as well. And that's something kind of scary, but they do eat other animals. They eat mostly rodents and birds and the like. But we need to also protect our pets and make sure that we keep our cats indoors, and just watch out for your dogs when you let them out at night, especially. If you have any pet ducks or pet chickens, the best thing you could do is keep them in a coop at night. Don't let them roam free.
Oh, that's a good tip.
Yeah, because if they roam free in your backyard, or pet rabbits, I know my neighbors have some rabbits, and they let them run around the yard. Well, at night, put the rabbits back into their hutch and lock it up at night, because there's animals like these foxes could go in your backyard. We also have a very small cat that is found in this area, and it's quite common. We've seen him across the street at the zoo here too.
We sure
We
have.
also have one here at the zoo living with us named Loki. That's a bobcat. And bobcats will sometimes feed on pet chickens and things like that, because they don't know that it's your pet. They just know that it's a food item. So the best thing you could do is keep it safe by keeping those animals locked into a barn or a hutch or a coop at night.
Some of you have asked if we have cougars here at the zoo, and we've had a long history with cougars at the zoo, but we currently do not have cougars. And who knows, maybe someday we'll bring
We
them
are
back.
hoping. If I have anything to say
If
about
Stephanie has anything to say about it, because
We
Stephanie used to
will.
care for our cougars
Yes.
back in the day, and
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
gosh, it's been about 10 years since we had cougars. But
hopefully we will,
yeah, we'd
yeah.
love to bring, because again, there's a great message behind it regarding Wild Aware Utah and what we're trying to share, all of these organizations that have partnered on this effort. And some of you have asked, you know, Disney, of course, with The Fox and the Hound and Robin Hood and Zootopia, they've used red foxes, getting back to red foxes, in a lot of their animation. And, you know, some of you have asked if foxes make good pets. Stephanie, what do you have to say about that?
These are wild animals, and they really should be kept wild. They just do much better staying in the wild, or in this situation, these animals were not able to be returned to the wild, so they're here at the zoo to live out their lives. But really, we should be adopting dogs and cats from our local shelter that need home. We shouldn't be trying to take some wild animals out of the wild to make them pets.
Yeah, if you take a look around their exhibit, they dug all of these holes, and you can see Autumn right there digging. That's what they do.
Oh,
That's
they're
what they do in the
diggers.
wild.
And how many times have you filled these in,
Oh
too?
my gosh, I can't keep up. I try and I try. And they also scent mark everything. That's one form of communication to let other animals and other foxes know, hey, this is my territory. And oftentimes I'll hear guests when they're by this exhibit ask, where's the skunk? I don't see a skunk. That's not a skunk. That is the foxes. And they can actually aim their urine stream. So sometimes they'll mark their food dish after they've eaten, and it's just perfectly right in there, and then I have to pick that up. But that's just an example
Right.
of how good they are at scent marking.
So too bad you don't have smell vision on this.
Yes. Even with our masks on,
Yeah.
we're
Still
getting a pretty
getting
good,
a little bit of it.
pretty good
You
whiff.
definitely would not ask the
Yeah.
question, can I have one of those as a pet? If you smell,
Yeah.
you'd smell what they smell like.
And they're very good jumpers as well,
So
and climbers,
Ma-
as we saw earlier.
Mary asked a good question. Since they're such great diggers,
Uh-huh.
as we just discussed, what's to keep them from digging under the fence?
We have a dig barrier. Yes, it's angled and it's deep under in there. And then in every corner of their exhibit, we have something that's called hot grass. So that helps as well. That helps digging and for them to not climb the fence as well.
How deep about does the perimeter fence go?
Oh, it's a few feet deep.
It's it's several feet
Yes.
deep. Some of you have asked how deep it is. It's deep enough,
Yes.
folks, that's for sure. But I know because I watched it happen. There were a number of modifications
Oh,
made.
yes. And I check their perimeter every single day.
Yep.
I check everything to make sure that there is no possible.
Oh, there she goes.
There she goes.
Oh my
And
goodness.
there she goes.
So yeah, that's certainly a part of your protocol, your
Yes.
care of these animals is
Yes.
checking every morning.
Single day. I
Every
watch
single
the tree
day.
growth, making sure there's no new limbs or branches that they could climb onto to also escape. So I check for all escape risks every single day.
Some of you have been asking, and you're very observant. Yes, this is where our wolves used to be, the lower level by SAB, and many modifications had to be made.
Yes.
Because these guys, they can jump too. Like
Yes,
you
they're
don't
great
really
jumpers.
realize what great jumpers they
Yeah.
are, as well as diggers. So you've got a lot to deal
Yeah.
with in terms of keeping them secure.
Speaking of the wolves, I'm actually still in contact with Angel,
Oh.
her new keeper, and she texted me today and sent me a little video of Angel, and she's doing really, really well.
Fantastic.
Over at Wolf Haven Sanctuary in the great state of Washington.
That's a
So-
great update. For those of you, you remember Angel, our wolf, our last wolf. Yeah, she's doing great
Doing really well.
at a sanctuary in Washington. Gwen, thanks for that.
Yeah, well, I
Thanks for that
interact
wonderful
with her
update.
quite often, so you're welcome.
Hey, thanks everybody for your donations. Gosh, we sure appreciate the support. You guys have been so great. You're always so wonderful. There's some animal art illustrations on the zoo website that you can purchase for just a few bucks that our resident art director, Jay Weston, has drawn. They're unique, one-of-a-kind creations, and I believe we have a red fox as one of those, right? So go to hoglezoo.org, to our online store, and maybe purchase one of those wonderful, wonderful prints. Everybody, thank you so much for your questions. And again, just a reminder about Wild Aware Utah. Go to wildawareutah.org to find out more, to get a little bit more information about this incredible organization. I'm going to turn the camera off me because we got a red fox right there. And I want to thank you all for your participation today, for your wonderful questions. You guys are so great. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being a part of these Facebook Lives. We couldn't do them without you. So, as you're walking around, hiking, driving, of course, keeping yourself physically distanced, keep your eye out for Utah wildlife. Enjoy them, but keep your distance. And of course, we look forward to having you all come back to the zoo, hopefully soon. Until we see you again, remember, be champions for wildlife, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.